Hey guys, it's Hink here. And so yeah, today we really do have a video where I discuss that there is a topical gel, meaning something that you put on your penis that increases your penis length by 23%. But there is a very significant catch. And so that's the data we are going to break down today. Now, this video topic is on something that's called H100 Gel. And I've had several personal DMs and messages and people reach out to me on my subreddit r/Hink to do a video topic. So for all you guys that reached out and put this on my radar, thank you. Here you go. So first of all, what is H100 Gel? Well, H100 Gel is a topical gel that is used specifically to treat the acute phase of something we call Peyronie's disease when you have a bend in your penis. It can be very debilitating to men. And so what are the ingredients? What actually makes it work? Well, the first thing is a calcium channel blocker called nicardipine. And so basically the way that this works is that you have these cells that are called fibroblasts, which actually deposit collagen, which can create the actual scar tissue leading to the plaque that causes Peyronie's disease. Now, what the calcium channel blocker does is it basically prevents the calcium influx into those fibroblast cells so they don't deposit the same amount of collagen they normally would, limiting that plaque or that scar formation. Now, this also shows some promise when it comes to vasodilation, meaning increased blood flow to the area, which could be potentially very helpful. And there's even some evidence that it can enhance nitric oxide activity, which, guys, if you don't know about nitric oxide, lordy, watch my other videos, but it's extremely important in the erection pathway. So next we have something that's called superoxide dismutase. Now what this is, it's an antioxidant enzyme, okay? And so what that means is that free radicals are very harmful particles that are basically all over your body. They cause a lot of badness. And what these antioxidant enzymes do is they help stop these free radicals from causing harm. So they can help in both the fibrotic process and actually the inflammatory process. Now the third ingredient, which to me is the most intriguing ingredient, is actually emu oil. So what this does is it allows the other ingredients that are in the H100 gel to travel through the skin and actually get into the tunica and absorbed into the actual tunica of the penis where you need it to go. There's also some evidence that can have some anti-inflammatory properties. We're going to get back to this later because that in itself, this emu oil in itself, game changer, okay? Game changer. So stay with me. Now, what this is not, this H100 gel, it is not some magic, oh my gosh, you rub this on your PP and magically it's going to grow. It does not work like that. So specifically when they evaluated this, they looked at stretched penile length. So that is not the same thing as erect length. And it was in people that had Peyronie's disease, acute phase Peyronie's disease. And so guys, this is coming primarily from a randomized prospective placebo-controlled trial, which is basically the gold standard. Now, the number of cases was actually pretty limited. I think there was only a total of 22 participants, in which 11 got it at first, 11 got a placebo, and then everybody got H100 at the ending. But what they found on this trial was that stretched penis length increased by about 22.6%. You had an almost 41% reduction in curvature of the penis, so penis straightened. And you also had an 85% decrease in pain levels, with the only negative side effect being a mild, self-controlled skin rash. So guys, this is very important. So guys, once again, when we're talking about that penis length, we're talking about just the ability to stretch the penis. Some of that increase in length is just going to be from correcting a curvature. And some of it actually could be a direct result of the impact that it has on the tunica and even potentially blood flow. Now, once again, guys, to me, the outstanding portion of this is that emu oil works. So this was actually proven on another trial that they did. And so here we have another trial. And basically what this trial looked at was they actually wanted to evaluate specifically the tunica and see if that nicardipine actually penetrated the tunica from this gel. And that is exactly what they found. And this was a more recent trial. It was somewhere around 2021, 2022 when this trial was published. And so we know that emu oil is an effective carrier of the substances that they want to get into the actual tunica of the penis. Once again, guys, this could be a total game changer when it comes to penis enlargement. So, for example, guys, if you haven't seen my videos on anti-lysyl oxidase, okay, please check them out. But basically on rat studies, they were able to inject the rats with this substance called anti-lysyl oxidase, which actually breaks down the tunica and allows for expansion of the penis. And what they saw is that with the use of anti-lysyl oxidase, you could have a over 20% increase in actual erect penile length in the rats that they studied this on. However, the biggest issue is the risk of something that's called an aortic aneurysm, or basically your blood vessels rupture, because that's what anti-lysyl oxidase does is it allows the blood vessels to basically expand and you can create aneurysms that way. If you had potentially like anti-lysyl oxidase, which I think the substance they use is something that's called BAPN. Imagine if you could combine the BAPN with this emu oil, rub it onto your penis, and you'd get direct penetration of that into the tunica. Now, the question would be how much systemic absorption would you have, meaning how much would actually go into your bloodstream and circulate. That would potentially be a game changer if it were to work like that. And I'm sure that some big pharma company, maybe we need to start like a GoFundMe for Hink to develop a mix of like emu oil. I'll give my boy Simtex. And so guys, if you're not following Simtex's like post on my subreddit and on other subreddits, you should check him out. Dude is very, very bright. And I love communicating with the guy. But maybe me and him will have to cook up something in the lab. I also got my pharmacist friend, Dr. RX72. He might be working in a compound pharmacy soon and might be able to literally create this. So we might have something cooking. Stay tuned, okay? So subscribe to the channel and leave a like in this video if you're interested. But what is important is that they have explored other gels when it comes to Peyronie's disease. And this was a gel looking at Verapamil. And what they found is that you had systemic absorption, meaning it got into the bloodstream, but it did not penetrate the tunica. And so therefore it was not effective. And so this is potentially like a revolutionary way to actually penetrate the tunica. Why this matters so much, guys, because once again, if you can use it topically, you get less systemic absorption, so less of it into the bloodstream, less of it going to the places you don't want it to go. And number two, it's completely non-invasive. It's unlike, Xiaflex, where it requires an injection or potentially something like a surgery. This is literally a cream that you rub on the penis. And so I do have some concerns about this, though. Number one is that this initial research was published as early as 2016, and there hasn't been anything moving forward with it. So that to me is concerning. And as far as what I can find, there are no future published trials that are exploring this further. Who knows what some of these big pharma companies might be doing in private, but there's nothing I can find. Now, there is a company that's called Petros Pharmaceutical, and they have announced some plans to pursue FDA approval of this substance. And so I'm sure that's going to require more trials. But that was announced back in 2022. And once again, we haven't heard anything moving forward. And so I love the Getting Big community. But my homeboy right here is actually doing a trial with H100 Gel himself. I'm not quite sure how he was able to get a prescription for it or whatnot, but he has it. And so I think it cost him like $900 out of pocket because it is not approved by the FDA. But he is literally going to be rubbing this on his jimmy and doing penile enlargement exercises and is going to be posting his results. So guys, if you're interested, if you're on Reddit, go on there and show this guy some love. I just hope he stays safe in doing it, but I'm very interested. So, tip of the hat to that guy, for science. How about anecdotally, people that have used this? Well, guys, I've been on some of the Peyronie subreddits on Reddit, and here's a post here. And quite honestly, guys, they haven't had very good success with it. I have yet to come across a very encouraging story of somebody using H100 Gel. My concern is that's why it has been basically stalled in development since basically 2016, since we've seen this, or I guess maybe that study from 2022 showing that it penetrates the tunica. But I would think if this was having major success for Peyronie's disease, it would be moving forward more quickly. I'm a decently smart guy. I like to research, but I don't understand why they didn't use Verapamil, okay? And so I'm going to put a screenshot up where you can see the differences between Verapamil and nicardipine, okay? There are some important differences, but they're both calcium channel blockers. Verapamil has had far more research when it comes to actually using Peyronie's disease. And why I like Verapamil better also is because it actually has some increased MMP or matrix metalloproteinase activity. So MMPs is actually what's used to actually break down the collagen bonds. And once again, that could be a vital component of enlargement. It also has been shown to have something that we call TGF-beta activity, which is important in scar formation process, and it can limit that, which would also be a good thing. So if it were me and I was doing this study, I would have used the emu oil and Verapamil. And so I think that the emu oil plus Verapamil would potentially have a much better outcome for both Peyronie's disease and potentially penile enlargement. But my most important takeaway from the study is that we have a gel that actually penetrates the tunica. That's number one. And so regardless of whether you think this study is a success or not, we have something that penetrates the tunica. That is a game changer, okay? So I'm hoping down the pipeline, exploring things like anti-lysyl oxidase, even Verapamil, and even, potentially some of these other less I don't know, potentially dangerous substances. Like even if we just had something like citrulline mixed with emu oil that would penetrate into the tunica and then potentially get into the actual blood in the penis, maybe a little bit fast. I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing here, guys. But the point is that's very important. It also showed that an increase in stretched penile length. So whether it's directly from improving from straightening the curve in the Peyronie's disease, which is causing the increased length. So guys, so for example, you don't know what I'm talking about. Let's say imagine your PP was curved like this, and this is my ruler here, and right here is 7 inches, and right here is 7.5 inches, okay? If you straighten out that curve, like right now you're at 7 inches, okay? This is a 7-inch mark. You straighten that curve, and instantly you're at 7.5 inches. Increased penis length like that, magic. And so that's why you have to be careful, and why I'm not saying like, oh my God, H100 is going to lead for you to have a bigger penis. But once again, it is very encouraging. And because of the ingredients, because of the way calcium channel blockers work, that could potentially be a huge improvement and, a game changer for penis enlargement. So I look forward to seeing what that study result is from my guy that's on Getting Bigger. So guys, let me know what you think. Is this a game changer? Like, were you excited by this trial or were you disappointed? Recently, a guy that literally bought my enlargement course and then was like, I want my money back. All enlargement is a scam. And I'm just like, well then, why did you buy my course in the first place, bro? But if you're looking for a course based on science and you're not an idiot and you know that actual penis enlargement is real based on real scientific studies, not too dissimilar from the study, of course, I put on over 1.5 inches in length. And my course teaches you how I did that based on real scientific principles. And so if you're interested, link is in the description below. I already talked about the supplements. If you need to reach me for coaching, one-on-one coaching, or injury consultation, whatever it may be, my patreon.com/Hink. All the ways to support Callie are in the description as well. Remember, guys, you are so much more than the size of your penis. Be the best version of yourself. There's nothing wrong with self-improvement, but you are enough just as you are. I promise, guys. All right, guys. Peace and love.
Dr. Hink got the plug on the health, yeah. Got you thinking about your wealth, yeah. In his office, no stealth, yeah. Pinnacle of that below the belt, yeah. Checks and balance, he's managing. Working miracles, no damage. Got you covered, no panicking. Steady calm. In the clinic, no vanishing. Yeah, with Doc Hink, it's the way back.